Welcome to Proudly Said, bold voices and real stories. I'm John Hyland, Scouse, queer, and still trying to make sense of it all. This space is for the stuff we don't always say out loud, but probably should. Let's get into it. If only you could see what I can see behind the camera. It's the biggest picture of Danny Beard known to man. I am with the fabulous David Watson, who you're a man of many hats, really, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing sometimes.
I'd say it's multi-talented.
Yes, that's what I like to think as well.
Well, first off, thank you very much. We're in your lovely home.
You're very welcome.
I do love a corner sofa.
I know. It's falling apart, but don't tell anyone.
No, you just tell the world. It's fine. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you very much.
You've had a lot going on in the last year or so, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had quite a different year this year. Well, 2025. Obviously, we're only in a little bit in 26. I had a different year. I finished a permanent job that I was doing at NML. So I've had a year of kind of freelancing, experimenting with my own projects. I just felt I passed the 40 mark and I just wanted to do something different. I spent most of my life constantly working for other people. Yeah. I could call it facilitating other people's creativity. So I wanted a year of doing it myself, and it's been great. It's been really good.
I like that, and I think it's what I think is important. If anyone is in Liverpool, first off, you can hear the accent. He's not from here. We'll get onto that in a sec. But you are, for me, someone who's always been at the forefront of a lot of creative projects in Liverpool over the last few years, through your previous job that you've left, through what you've done since. So you had quite a big thing during Eurovision. You've had a big thing in other arts and dance and stuff like that. So yeah. I think let's just go back further down the line, like that creativeness, what because I always think to myself is when I was younger, I was a maths nerd, and then something happened overnight and that side of my brain just stopped working and I just decided to go creative. Don't know what happened, and all of a sudden I can't do maths. So
thank God for a calculator or ChatGPT. Other brands are available.
So when it comes to that creative element, because you are a very creative but logical person when it comes to that creativity, so when did that start? How did that come about?
It was not something that I really kind of lent into when I was quite young. I actually was quite a nerd, and I was, believe it or not, people know me now, I was really shy. I didn't really speak to many people.
You were really shy.
Yeah, very quiet. Now I'm loud. But I started out really being obsessed with IT.
Okay.
And I did IT for a long time. Back in the day when I was in my bedroom, I had a computer, I was building websites when it first happened. And then I went to college to do IT for the first year. And then I accidentally fell into the Performing Arts Hall. And
I love that.
That week did a show, and that's how my dance career started.
You fell into it and did the show that week?
Literally, I did I think I did a part of the course was I think it's a 1-year course in IT.
Okay.
And then the teacher said to me, I think you probably want to go and do something else for a bit because you need to do a different kind of course, but the intake's different. So I went down the road to New College in Telford, did a tour around the building, and there was a hall in the middle of it and they were rehearsing something. And one of the people that were running the course was like, "Oh, come in." So I sat and watched for a bit. Weirdly, someone was injured that week. So we're like, "Do you want to join?" So I joined in, and then before I left for the day, I was in the show at the end of the week.
So that's pure weird circumstantial luck. If it wasn't for that injury.
And I'd never danced before, ever. And then from that moment, I think the week after I enrolled, and then I started learning how to dance properly.
How old was you then about? Sorry.
18, 17.
Okay, so you and a mutual friend have got similar kind of stories, and that it's quite late in life.
Yeah, and as a
18, late in life.
Well, it is for a dancer. Yeah. And obviously I then went on to a conservatoire, which meant that I was much older. And obviously a lot of people do training from very, very young. I hadn't done that. Obviously I danced around the living room with my mom and my dad and my sisters, but nothing technical. So I did 2 and a bit years of intensive training. Yeah. My body just did it. That's how I found out I could do the splits.
Wow. You could just do it.
They just was like, this is what it looks like. I was just clearly flexible. I've been very gifted in that way. and then off I went to dance school. So a lot of the people I went to where I did my degree at Northern in Leeds, a lot of them had been dancing maybe from 10, 11, 12. And obviously the girls were much younger. So yeah, it was kind of a whole fluke getting into performing.
Wow.
And I loved it. But the reality is, and I'm being genuine about this, I never thought that I was only ever going to be a performer. I didn't go, I'm going to be a star. That's it. I always thought, well, I'll do this for a bit and then I'll do
Yeah.
something else. So I've always kind of had like the creative bit and the businessy bit. I'm fascinated by business. And that's even though I've had different jobs, it kind of does move between the two. And I think there's a world where you can blend them together.
Absolutely. And I think you do that really well.
It's taken a bit of time. That's not necessarily about my capability. It's about other people's perception of what a creative can be. The reality is there are a lot of creative people that wouldn't know how to run a business. A lot of people spunk money up the wall.
I don't do that.
But people do. And that's unfortunately a perception. So when I started trying to change into a more of a, let's say, an arts management job, the skepticism because I was a performer was quite strong. Like, can you actually do this? But part of my thing is like, I'm going to prove you wrong that I can. And I think I've done it right so far.
I think you have. I think you also had that mentality. Is like when if anyone knows you on that level, they'll be like, okay, as we were talking off camera before, not that you can be quite blunt, but like because you do know what you're talking about.
I try.
Yeah, okay, you try. I'll be a bit more humble for you. It's like people think, yeah, because you're back with background in dance, they think, oh, he's just going to come in all whimsical, flimsy, and you're like, no, right, okay, what's the money? Where's the funding? How's it gonna? What's the? And people are like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think, and there's a kind of, I think there's a more of a scientific description, but it's about using your left and your right brain, and I can use both. And I think that's really important. Like art needs to be sustainable and projects and good management, because like great creativity comes from a chaos.
Yeah.
It can, but it's also really disturbing and distressful. And it's not great for people that are part of that experience. So I want people to be really creative, but I want it to be run properly and efficient. There's nothing more than trying to do a project there's no plans or people are just don't know what they're talking about. And I do big events. So if you think about that, health and safety, and you can't just piss about, like you've got to do it properly.
And I think if you with that background that you just described, there's like creatives, like full-blown creatives are a bit crazy, let's be quite honest about that.
That's the greatness about it.
And I suppose not the difference, but what you bring to a project then is like, I know that craziness, but I also know how to ground you.
Yeah. And I think that's taken time for me to be able to find that balance, because I've got a lot of energy. I will go full out on an idea.
Yeah.
I think over the decades now, I've refined it to be more balanced, because I would have come up with an idea and I'd have just gone for it, even with all the risks. I would. But that's something but everybody does that. You evolve and
you learn.
You learn and you get experience, don't you? And working with other people, and you learn from amazing talent.
Yes. I think, the collaboration is key, is how you come to learn what you're good at and how you can build off other people. So what brought you to Liverpool?
My job at National Museums Liverpool.
Okay, that's what brought you here.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Kind of part of my journey is, which is quite funny sometimes, is that I tend to do a fixed job for a period, then I'll do something bonkers that everybody says I shouldn't do, and then I'll do a fixed job for a period. So NML was my fixed period. So prior to that, I did a stint at Birmingham Royal Ballet as the director of advocacy and brand. But prior to that, I did the bonkers City of Culture in Hull.
Oh, wow, that was you.
Yeah. So I did that one.
That was the first UK City of Culture, was it not?
Technically, Londonderry was the first,
okay.
Then Hull. But Hull was like the big one.
Yeah.
So I did that, and that was like following a serious job at English National Ballet. So I tend to do like a stint on something serious, then something crazy, and then like calm down. So my calm period was coming here to NML, which was amazing. I did that for nearly about 6 years.
Is that a long time for you then?
Yeah.
For a fixed job?
That's probably one of the longest I've done. That, and I think maybe that and the Opera House in London are the longest that I've done.
Okay.
But in between them, I like to do, and I just think that's what gets the best out of me. I think that's keeps my creative energy going, and I don't ever want to do something where I'm just like floating along.
It's like having a bit of purpose, and like, I know I've got a goal, and then that's done. What's the next big goal?
And I think that me going from like maybe an institution, if you want to call it that, to something where it's needs building from the ground up, doesn't exist. Like that is the thing that really stretches my experience and learning. And that's not about me just doing it on my own. That's because I get to work with amazing people, like the people that you get to work with on these pop-up projects, like City of Culture or Eurovision. These are big moments, so they bring in the best people. So even if it's not my area, like I remember working on the Olympics and the amount of talent, like watching these technical directors put these wires across the stadium.
Wow.
That's how you learn, right? And that's why I love doing a bit of an institution and organization, and then these kind of projects, because it's almost like that's my personal development.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go back to university. I'm just not going to do that. And you can do lots in a permanent job, but actually to really jolt you into the next one to keep striving. I think these projects are quite, don't get me wrong, they need a lot of energy. You are exhausted. You know, the day you're doing it is you can't move the date. So it can be a lot of pressure, but I think you learn a lot because the amount of talent that is brought in around you. So I love kind of flipping around, but yeah, NML was the reason why I came to Liverpool, and I have still, got my roots here, and I love it, and it's a brilliant city.
So let's talk about a few of the things that you've done during that time. So I think you've done some quite amazing stuff when you were at NML, but let's talk it more in the concept of the city.
Yeah.
Let's go to that first big one, I suppose, Eurovision. Like you were like quite a big partner with the team behind Eurovision in Liverpool.
Yeah, and I don't really desire jobs. I don't go, that's the job that I want. But one of them is like, I want to work on Eurovision before I'm dead. That's always been one of the
And it was Eurovision, not the fact that it was in the UK. It was just Eurovision in general.
Eurovision.
Okay.
And then when the whole conversation was happening, and when unfortunately it was because Ukraine couldn't host it, and they were talking, I was like, oh my God, this is a sign. And I was like gagging for it in Liverpool, and I knew that Liverpool could do it better than anybody.
So was you part of the bid?
No.
Okay.
No. Some of it did come across my desk, so to speak, because NML made a contribution to the pack and all that. And obviously at that point I was like, come on, God. Come on, gay God.
Yes, quite literally, come on, the gay gods.
I was just like, and even though obviously I was working for NML, I was determined to be part of it no matter what. We already agreed as a leadership team at NML that we would make the most of it, even if we weren't part of the core of it. Because obviously thousands of people come, it's the moment, and NML's venues are across the entire waterfront and the Lime Street area. So I was like, this is going to be go big or go home.
Yeah.
And then the opportunity to integrate with the team. So Martin Green, who
now is the boss.
Who I worked with at London 2012 on Whole City of Culture, became the boss. And I was like, hi, Martin, it's me. We are going to do something on this. So I think like his first couple of weeks here, I was like, we're going out to dinner. Then we went to the Mask, obviously.
Yeah. Is that when Rylan ended up?
No, we went out first.
Okay.
And Martin and Rylan went on many, many times. And I was like, oh God.
Hey, once you find the gay scene in Liverpool.
I was just like, I don't want to get you out of any trouble. But as a leadership team, we really agreed that we were going to go for it. And obviously then I was looking for opportunities to integrate with council and Liverpool team that were doing a fab job.
Well, Museum of Liverpool was like perfect positioning. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was amazing because it was right in the middle. But equally at that point, I had offline conversations, just not widely known conversations with Martin and his team, because he worked at the BBC at that point. Yeah. About hosting the opening ceremony. Of
course, because he came out of the Walker.
The Walker Art Gallery. So we were working on that all at the same time as everything else, and trying to look at how we could do it. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that everybody in the organisation had an opportunity. Obviously, I felt we were an anchor organisation. I also say we don't need permission from anybody to be involved, and neither does any other organiser, because it's very easy, I think, sometimes when there is a machine for culture that you feel like you need permission to play. And I was just like, we're going to do this with or without any funding or whatever. We would always integrate and share. So yeah, we were really ambitious. I was really clear that we wanted to make sure we worked with a Ukrainian partner that was in Ukraine, which even though that was really challenging because they were working, we'd have calls online and then they'd have to leave because
there's a bomb scare or something.
But we wanted to do a really diverse program, really show off how we collaborate as an organization, but really showcase the talent of Liverpool. So we did things like pop-up performance musicians in all the atriums of the venues.
Love that.
And I think it was something like 150 performances.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, and we did the registration prep. Bearing in mind, Liverpool found out in the December.
Yep. And it was in the May.
Yeah, and we woke up in January going, oh my God, we're going to start. So it was, but this is kind of the thing when we talk about experience, is like, you can do things much more efficiently the more you do.
Yeah.
In terms of this kind of like temporary performance. Yeah. So I was very confident we could do it. The team, we're very busy, but it's actually about, well, why wouldn't you not enhance this? It's about picking what we've got already. How do we enhance that? And then doing some really brilliant shit, like the projections on the Museum of Liverpool.
Yes.
Worked with a company across the water called Crucial Effects. So I had like this whole concept in my head.
Of course you did.
And for me, it was about this. It's about hope. That's what it was about. And it was about then integrating it with Liverpool. So like the marine life is about kind of how do we use the united by music, being united by art.
Yes.
And that's how we started developing. And then it became this big sequence. And then we had to do all the media rounds. And then we did the musical stairs where you can run up and down stairs. The project we did with the Ukraine company was Eurovision Walk of Fame. So it's basically each of the steps in the Museum in Liverpool had vinyls, but then we used augmented reality. So you hold your phone on it, and the top 10 streamed Eurovision entries would pop up on your phone, and they all, often there is a symbolic thing for an entry.
Yeah.
So the previous Eurovision would have had like the hat. So you could use the AR and put it on your head. We did Spaceman for Sam Ryder, and literally you hold your phone up and you're floating in space. So it was good fun. We did loads of that. Lots of the learning team did lots of workshops. We did some cracking parties, some of the extras, which are late nights, screenings. And obviously in between all this, you've just got the amazing atmosphere of Liverpool, and you've got the kind of festival side to that side of us, the arena. It was amazing. It's one of the best things I've done.
It's listening to it, because unfortunately I wasn't able to go to anything because I was in Northern Ireland at the time, and
so good.
Local elections forced me to not come over, and I was devastated. I don't know if you've like clocked it on the camera there. I'm literally sitting here like, as you're describing everything.
It was so good. And I think I knew, and a lot of people are confident Liverpool could do this, but even through it, there was moments where I was just like, oh God, this is extraordinary. And then we did Help Ukraine Song, which is like the musical protest. That was another moment where I've got the mayor of Kyiv standing on the steps winking at me, and I'm like crying going, oh my God.
Aww.
You know, but I think people felt it here and around the world, and I think Liverpool version will be iconic for a very, very long time.
I think it will, because like that was 23, right?
Yeah.
That was 23. It's now 26. We won't go into the political atmosphere of it at the moment, but the point is like, it's still being compared to the Liverpool event. And it's not just a combination of the event itself, but it is everything else around
the
it.
festival around it and the collaboration. And I think this idea of using it as a cultural anchor for innovation and collaboration. You know, who would have thought that we could have pulled off some of the collaborations with Ukraine in wartime? It happened.
And you're right, because I think the interesting thing about that year was we were hosting it for another country. So it's how do we mold everything, and the fact that this city, as it does, as we know it can and always will do, like pulled it out the bag, and it is still being compared to. It's like even the following year, I remember seeing a video or an image saying like this is the Eurovision Village or whatever it was called for the following year, and then it was compared. The stage was getting compared to our stage, and it was tiny in comparison. And it's like, this isn't even like a UK hosting. Well, it is. But you know what I mean?
I wouldn't have wanted to be the country after host, because I was just like, oh my God. But I think that's part of what makes Liverpool special. I think the people in Liverpool are always up for a good time. You know, I think the one thing when people ask me why do you stay in Liverpool? Why, you know, what makes it special? I think there's lots of things, of course, but everybody's up for trying something and they trust you to do it. So if you've got the wildest ideas, like I can often have, they're like, crack on.
Let's see what you do.
See what you do. We'll come and support you. We'll give it a go. And I like that. And that's why everybody came out. And Eurovision was just a great moment, and I loved it.
A moment. I think that's the right way to describe it.
It was definitely a moment.
So I want to move on now because I'm getting jealous.
It'll happen again at some point, I'm sure.
We'll see. It might not be Liverpool. Maybe it'll be Glasgow this time because they lost out. Another thing that I think about from your time there, which is amazing for our local queer community, was the photo shoot you did with Magnus Hastings. That was incredible, because I think because you reached out to me about asking for like support with finding the queens, I think my first thing to you was, mate, they've like bred like rabbits. Like there was a time a few years ago where I could list everyone on my hands and I'd know them all. Now I'm like, I haven't got a flipping clue.
I know, and I was like, I know quite a lot of them.
But then more names kept coming.
There's more, and you must know. You're involved in bloody everything. So I was just like, come on, let's do this. Yeah, that was a cool project. I'm just trying to think how it came about. So we'd have done our programming for the Walker Art Gallery, and there was a gap.
There was a gap.
And part of the reason why the gap was because Walker Art Gallery had a renovation in the gallery. And I remember saying to the team, over my dead body, after this gallery's being renovated, it's going to be empty.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, there's an opportunity with Pride, because I was like, Pride needs
Yep.
needs something. And then I remembered during maybe a year before and maybe part of Eurovision, I followed Magnus on Insta because he's a celebrity photographer. He's very well known. And I DM'd him going, will you work with me? He was like,
Just on Instagram.
Yeah. And I was just like, will you work with me? That's how I do most of my business.
Take note.
And at the time, we just couldn't make it happen. So then I remember being at home here one weekend going, right, we've got to come up with something great. The team were really like busy. So I was like, do you know what? I'm going to do this myself. I will make this happen. I literally DM'd Magnus on the Saturday. We had a call on the Saturday night. Bearing in mind, he's in Hollywood, wherever he is. So the timing was weird.
They're like 8 hours behind there, aren't they? Yeah, jeez.
And I was like, bonkers idea. Can we do this? Explained it all. He was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, this is great. And
what do you need?
Yeah, to be fair, it kind of was that. And he's very courteous and generous. And for Magnus, he's done work everywhere, but he is from the UK. He does want to do more stuff at home. And I think I also approached it as in it's a collaboration. So, and I think that's, one piece of advice I'd ever give somebody. If you want to collaborate with someone, don't come with it don't come to the project with conditions that restrain the collaboration unless they're necessary. So if you're going to say you collaborate, be open-minded. So it's like, this is kind of what I want to do.
What do you think?
What do you think? And to be fair, Magnus was overwhelmed because I was like, you've got the entire gallery. Is this it?
Wow.
And then we started working on it. But I think what I wanted really specifically was around how do we showcase the local talent? For me, and I'll come to the title in a minute because I always get questions about this. For me, it was about showcasing local talent that you either work here or are from here.
Yes.
Obviously, I tied it to Pride. So I was like, let's just do something big. But what I wanted was, of all the amazing people that Magnus has photographed, I wanted him to come to Liverpool and shoot the Liverpool Queens in Liverpool.
Yes.
Which was the logistical bit, which was really hard. And we ended up having 36 Queens in the middle.
Was it 36 in the end?
36 in town, in the dodgy alleyway behind one of the bars. What bar was it?
It's behind
behind the Lisbon, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's behind the Lisbon, yes.
That alleyway, which many people know. It was rough. And it was one of the hottest days of the year.
Yes,
it was
sweating.
But everybody who took part turned it out. It was amazing. Thanks to the Lisbon for hosting everybody again.
Yep.
It was just an amazing day. And I really, really wanted to make that happen, as in the Liverpool unique element.
Yep.
If we bring it into his amazing celebrity portfolio. He's like most sought after photographers for drag in particular.
Yep.
That's what he's known for. And that logistically was difficult, which you helped me with, and it was a great day. But it's about showcasing the local talent. I wanted it to be something which is kind of part of history. I never thought it was going to be as popular as it was going to be. I thought it'd be popular.
As in the exhibition itself? Yeah.
But it turned out to be ridiculous.
I remember the launch party. Jeez.
It was, I can throw a good party. I was like, this is going to go big or go home, as I normally kind of do. And then the whole title of it,
yes,
actually, it's not because it was drag queens, because I was inclusive. I wanted it to be drag queens.
So what was the name?
It's Queen by Magnus Hastings, and it wasn't actually because it's drag queens. It just works. Actually, it's because it's influenced by Scouse. Hey Queen,
hey Queen,
hey Queen.
Yeah,
that's why it was called Queen, not because it was drag queens. Because obviously we had drag kings in there.
Yeah.
And I wanted the spectrum of talent that's here in Liverpool. But it was really about that Liverpool identity, that stamp, and the Queens were in the middle of the exhibition and everybody else was around them.
Yes.
So they had their own dedicated space. And then the idea is that that project has a life moving forward, that it will contour to different cities or countries, and then Magnus shoots their Queens talent and puts them in. But yeah, that was amazing. The party was brilliant, wasn't it?
It was
Danny Beard rolled the house down.
As we said, what I'm looking at right now, behind the camera is Danny Beard's shot from the show.
Yes, so we shot that in Manchester. Of course, Danny's just beautiful and was great to work with. It was a great day. But yeah, the show was amazing and the opening party was great. I don't think I could probably pull that off again. Well, because you just, I think there's some things that you do and then you just need to move on, don't you? Yeah. I need to come up with something bigger and better. And I've been speaking to Magnus about
what next.
Yeah, we have a really great friendship now. And I think we just worked
I'm not
really
surprised.
well. But we worked really well together. I think there's an artist making work and a producer, I suppose, is what the role I ended up doing. That's about trust, and that's about what I bring and how I listen and how I encourage. Yes, he's a big name, but he also doesn't know everything and he needs someone to work with. And he said to me he's had some bad experiences before about people not really delivering, but we've struck up a good friendship now. I will go and visit him this year, hopefully, in his new house in Palm Springs.
Oh,
Yeah. But I wanted to do something else with him because it was fun, right?
yeah. As someone who I was involved in it, just that small thing just being there on the day, it was something else. What I loved about that whole alley thing was that was just meant to be the first location. And the intention was to go different places, but then he was straight away like, no, I like this. It's like this juxtaposition of
rough.
The glamour of the drag to the Shaggy's Alley.
and it was nasty. There was pigeons hanging their asses over the edges. God knows what on the floor.
But the Queens reveled in it.
And we made it work, and the pictures are beautiful. And I've spoken to a lot of the Queens now. We're good friends again, and they do cite that as a really special project and felt seen and that they were included, because I think the drag scene or just queer scene generally sometimes can be quite exclusionary. We are all shouting for equality, but we're not great with each other. And I think that project really did bring, I know there was some of the queens there that don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
But they were there. And they work together, and it's really nice to see that they've built more friendship from it. Yeah. I'd love to do something again for Liverpool in that area. I'll brew it in the next couple of years and figure out.
Watch this space.
Yeah, watch this space. I think there's always something to be done, right? What's next? I think that's the important. You're only as good as the last thing you did, and I need to do something different now.
Because you've had some big things in the past. So what are as I'm just conscious of time, what is currently brewing in your head that you're happy to kind of engage in?
I don't really know.
That's the problem, isn't it?
I've got quite I'm doing my own podcast, as you know, which has been really amazing, about the creative industries. I'm quite
Before the applause. Get that in there.
Before the applause. I'm quite interested in some kind of event for Liverpool where it's about bringing people together, creativity, a unique twist and experience. I think there's always room for something like that.
Yeah.
And again, it's like Liverpool, you're only as good as the last thing you did, and don't sweat it and basically bang on about it for a decade. Like Eurovision was in 23. What's next?
Yeah, we're in 26.
So I'd quite be interested in how do we do something like that? But then I'm generally quite open-minded. I think I always need something wild to get involved. And it will start off as a stupid idea. I'll then stress about it for a day, and I've built the entire business plan, and then
make it happen. Yeah. And then it's fabulous.
Well, that's the goal. Not everything's perfect, right? But
you strive for it. Yeah. And you know what? I think everything, what is it? There's a phrase, isn't there? There's a diamond or something, but there's always going to be a little speck of dirt on it.
And if it's too polished, it never really works. And because it doesn't feel authentic. And I think it's also about that sitting in Liverpool where it has a bit of edge to it.
Yeah, of course.
It needs to feel like you wouldn't want something too polished. But I think there's scope for lots of stuff. And anyone wants to collaborate, let me know. No, I think some I'm not waiting for permission to someone to say, yeah, David, go ahead and create this.
Just do it.
Yeah. I'm currently also looking to establish a new dance development agency for Liverpool.
Okay.
Because we did have one and then it disappeared, and obviously dance is my background, so I've been working on that. And whatever else comes, really, I'm quite open to ideas. What we're going to do, John?
I know we need to do something together. I think that'd be absolutely quite camp, actually. I don't know though. Is the only question.
I don't know what. See where the wind takes us.
I mean, we always do find ourselves doing something together in some way, shape, or form.
Well, that's just because kindred spirits, right? And same energy. So
yeah, same energy is definitely the answer.
And obviously, I'm going to support House of Suarez again.
Of course, yes.
I'll be having them this year.
So on House of Suarez, just very quickly, because I think Darren would shout to us if we didn't mention him. You've judged the ball multiple times.
Yeah, I love it. Obsessed with it.
What is it with the energy behind House of Suarez and their events? Because obviously you went to school with Darren.
I did. We went to Northern, not primary school.
Sorry, I went to dance school together, darling.
For me, it's about a room that comes alive, that is welcoming for everybody. It gives me so much confidence, even though I'm judging people. I'm not that harsh, but I just love seeing the variety of performers and the creativity. And in that moment, when everybody's just going for it, and Ricky Beadle, where the host is insane. Yeah. I've never felt anything quite like it. And then I always worry when I've done one, should I go to the next one?
Yeah.
But I go, and then I feel either exactly the same, or if not even more exhilarated. I love it. And this year, Darren celebrates 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, and it's an icon of Liverpool, and it should be celebrated. So hopefully I'm going to be able to support helping to showcase that for the year. I don't, you know, for me,
There's the creative management side
right,
there.
it's 20 years, so let's just do 20 moments, or let's just milk the whole year.
Yeah.
And Liverpool's been behind Darren to do this. I think it's a brilliant kind of another moment in the cultural calendar, which I think everyone should get involved in. Yes, so we'll do something with that, and you'll be floating around because you're involved as well.
See, we're all just crazy. So moving forward, how can people, if they want to keep in touch with what you're doing, because there's a fucking lot going on, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, David Watson UK. I'm on TikTok, but I'm really piss poor with that content. Like I can't do it.
Yeah,
I can't do it, and I'm not. Weirdly, I don't really like being on camera, which is bizarre. Even though I do like TV interviews,
like to talk
on my own podcast, so I don't really do TikToks and mess about. But you can find me on Instagram. My website is david-watson.com. Read all about it. Email me. Yeah. Or you'll know someone that knows me, or you know him.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm up for ideas, or if you need help with anything, I'm not always can say that I can do it. But if you want to chat about how to produce a show, or you've got an idea, I think that's the generosity that people that work in the sector should be having, because it's about making sure you're putting the ladder down and keeping it down for the people to come up. Not once you've got there to be like, okay, well, I don't need help anymore. And I don't mind having a conversation or just like bouncing an idea and be like, do you know what? These are the bits that you need to think of. Or to be fair, I'll tell you if it's shit as well.
I do think there is a now a generation within the city of we've moved away from the gatekeepers, and it's now more about like, how do we celebrate more and do more, and like, because we have had these moments, shall we say, there's like, we need to keep the momentum up, because I mean, some would say quite a lot is Liverpool seems to get a little bit overshadowed sometimes by Manchester down the road. Yeah, but we are the cultural capital, let's be honest.
Yeah, and I think going back to what we spoke about to begin with, not everybody has the kind of way of understanding how to pull something off.
Yeah.
And I also want artists to be artists. You shouldn't have to be someone that can do a business plan.
Yeah.
There's enough people in the world to help you, and I think Liverpool's a great incubator for that. So for me, I'm always like, well, tell me what your idea is and I can give you some pointers or help. And I think we should be doing more of that. And that's ultimately how you can keep staying relevant as an artist. But cultural institutions should be leaning more into the artists that are in the city. You know, one thing that I can do, I can talk. Normally, I'll just keep talking until someone gives me what I want. But I can introduce people to people, and I love doing that. You know, so even if it's the smallest idea, I don't ever want anyone to feel like that they can't try something. It doesn't mean it's going to work. You know, my saying is, this is kind of like, as much as you're joking about how much I do, and
it's true.
Why? No, it's true. But why would anyone want to invest in me if I'm not willing to invest in myself? So that's why I've got all these weird side hustles. And if they fail, they fail. You know, I've gone through the pandemic launch in a frigging sock company, which sold 0 pairs of socks because we're in the middle of a pandemic. Like, you've got to learn from that. But I think if you want people to take a chance on you, you have to invest in yourself and try some of these things. But you can do it in collaboration. So I'm always up for having a chat about stuff.
And I think that's the point, is like, just have a chat. And it's the same concept of me with this podcast. Is I'd like to hope that people might hopefully watch it or listen to it.
Please do.
See you and what you've been like. Oh, I'll drop David a message and just see what's what. Yeah. That's entirely why I want this to happen. It's just like, let's have a collective queer celebratory community.
Yeah, and I think and I think if you're part of a community that is a bit more distinct, like the LGBTQ plus community, actually work together, try things together. I think that's where you can find your tribe and get that support. John's checking his watch again.
I'm not being rude. I'm checking the timer.
He's checking the timer. It's very professional. But yeah, I think like if you're part of, like, let's work together to create more things that are more beautiful and more impactful.
I love that. And I think that's the best way to end this. So thank you so much for joining me. Again, just to reiterate, we best just head into your website, and then every way to check you out is on there. So just remind us of that again.
david-watson.com.
Oh, she's a .com girl.
I bought that like 20 years ago.
Did you really?
Yeah, somebody had the full name, so I got a hyphen in the middle of it. So
another David Watson got there first
in the US.
But yes, no, thank you for inviting me to your home. Thank you for letting me to watch Danny Beer the entire time I've been doing this. And check us next time. You've been listening to Proudly Said. Now, if it meant something to you, why not pass it on? If it didn't, maybe it will one day. Either way, stay kind, stay loud, and stay proud.